Hello and welcome to this morning time taste challenge. This is going to count for tomorrow, Friday. We're doing Fandango Friday tomorrow, so I won't have time to deal with it. We have two Diageo brands again. The Dimple Pinch. This is the 15-year age version. You might find a 12-year age. 80 proof. You might find an 86 proof. Introduced in 1893 by John Haig and Company. Now owned by Diageo. About $35 a bottle. I found my bottle for $24.95. Crazy, right? True story, though. Right there at Walmart. All right. The competitor, Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve. I've got a lot of these little bottles. I'm trying to get 15 of them. Well, 14 because I drank one whole one on the solo review. So that was if you get 15 bottles, it makes a full-size bottle. 40% alcohol, the Master Blenders Reserve, finest malt and grain whiskies, no age statement, introduced in 2012. And if you get on the website, it talks about how fabulous it is. Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve is a whiskey that plays nicely with others, but always holds its own. This award-winning Scotch is made from whiskeys chosen for their sweet, honeyed qualities. So that's going to be the problem here. They show on the big bottle, they show a crown with the royal family's crest, because this is one of the whiskey sold under a royal warrant as an official whiskey of the royal family of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Canada, Jamaica, etc. All right. We select them when they're at their most vibrant for vivid flavor in every mouthful. In other words, no particular age statement. They just saying they select it when they think it's best. Okay. The smell, heather, honey, aromas, and woody notes. The taste, vibrant and tropical fruit with smooth, creamy vanilla. A lingering, sweet, smoky finish. I didn't really detect smoke, but here's the problem. The Dimple Pinch, which does have an age statement, like I said, 15 years, this one at least. It has the same type of aromas, honey. So I think there's a good chance I'll get confused, but I'm going to try my best to tell them apart, one from the other. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know. We're about to find out. Appearance. Well, they both amber gold. Standard. Just a standard Scotch, blended Scotch smell. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just like, what does that smell like? Standardized whiskey of the Scotch variety. I mean, or just whiskey in general, really. All right. Same here, but less aroma. One is bolder than the other. You would assume it's the 15-year that's got more boldness, just because. I don't know. I don't know why, because they're both 80 proof. Maybe the 15 would have less boldness because the wood would mellow it out. So I don't know. I'm just ignore that last statement. It didn't make any sense. All right. Taste. Honey, sugar. They don't contain honey. But to me, whiskey, whether it's American blended, American bourbon, or blended bourbon, or straight bourbon, or Canadian blended whiskey, or Irish blended whiskey, or blended Scotch whiskey, they all taste like sugar to me. They're very like sugar water, 40% alcohol, sugar water, but you know what I'm saying? No, I mean, so anyway. A little bit of smoke at the end. We want to focus on the word little, a little bit, and I mean a touch, a scintilla. Okay, $35 for the Dimple Pinch in a normal circumstance. $55 for the Gold Label Reserve. I'm going to check that price. I wouldn't pay $1 more, honestly, because they taste so similar. That's just me. To me, they taste practically the same. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't. It's got a pretty label. It's a Gold Label Reserve. Johnnie Walker Gold Label is pretty. I mean, look, it looks nice. Fancy gold, different shades of gold with black trim, black writing. Got the striding man. Oh, it's nice looking. But so is the Dimple Pinch. It has an interesting label as well. It's a plastic, clear plastics glued on label, whereas the Johnnie Walker's paper glued on. I guess the writing man is looks like it's painted on. Yeah. No. The whole thing is a plastic stick-on label adhesive. It's just got paper integrated into it. I guess that's paper. All right. Okay. I guess the big bottles are gonna have paper. All right. But Benny, that's like, why am I even talking about that? They both look fine. All right. Let's see what happens on price here. Gold Label Reserve. Oh, I was wrong. $44.99. Okay. Don't know what I'm talking about. So it's $20 more than I paid, but I didn't pay a normal price. It's $10 more than you would pay. $9 more. Is it $9 better? No. Now the double black. The website's acting funny. Whew, starting to get on my nerves a little bit. Honey, sweet honey and sweet sugar water. $41.99. Okay, so a $3 difference. Okay, well, no problem. All right. You know what's the one that's real expensive is that it's a gold label also, gold and white. It's the Dewar's 18-year age. $65. Look, this is a wash. All right. You could taste a little bit of smoke and no smoke. They're both honey-like. They tell you that on it. Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve webpage. The honey. Oh yes, it's so mild. It's so mild. It's so honey-like in all of these characteristics. And I'll put the link below. Yeah, that's what it is. and with a touch of smoke. And I mean like that much. The rich and smooth aroma of Dimple Pinch, celebrating rich and smooth aroma. Is that aroma really rich? Not. It's there's an aroma. I don't know how an aroma can be smooth, but I don't know. I'm not a whiskey expert. All right. Anyway, let's call it now. Do I like both? Oh yes, they're both very nice, most excellent. They're in the A range. That's without question. So either way you go, you pay $35.99, get the Dimple Pinch, it's going to be an A. You can pay $44.99 and get Gold Label Reserve from Johnnie Walker. They're both Diageo companies, and it's going to be an A. So you don't fail. Either way, you don't fail. Now, in this case, it's a tie. I don't prefer one over the other, honestly. They're both good, and I don't prefer one, so I would just go with the cheaper product, meaning the Dimple Pinch. That is definite. There's no question there. All right. So who wins? Nobody, except that the Dimple Pinch wins by virtue of $9 cheaper. So it wins by default or based on price. Otherwise, that's it. It's an even match. Even match. Now I did give the win to Johnnie Walker Double Black, which is about $7 more per bottle than the Dimple Pinch. But that really wasn't a quality control issue or one was better than the other. No, and that was a personal preference issue, which, I mean, everybody's got personal preference, so that can play a role in it in your own personal life. It should not play a role in the taste challenge, and it doesn't play a role in my taste challenges. And I was very clear in that explanation. I said, in a personal sense, I like the Double Black because of the smoky qualities, and I like smoky whiskeys. But I said otherwise, really, it's the same. All right. Got it. Now, this was nerve wracking. There's a kind of a vanilla. Now, you see, I'm starting to get a taste for this Dimple Pinch. Like, you know what I mean? Like a memory bank thing. It has like a vanilla. I was going to say nougat. I don't know about that, but a vanilla thing. Marshmallow. Well, that's vanilla, isn't it? Flour and vanilla and sugar. Okay. So, what's the blend ratio? I couldn't tell you, but I would guess it's probably a standard 80-20. It's probably 80% grain spirit, grain whiskey, aged 3 years, maybe not a day longer, maybe. No, that's right. Yeah, I'm thinking of America. No, all the whiskeys have to be at least 15 years old. I'm thinking of American blended whiskey where they'll say on the bottle, the straight whiskeys in this blend are at least 4 years old or whatever they say. But with blended Scotch, it's all blended together. Either they blend it after they age it or before they age it. It's up to them. Then they might take it and finish it. They might finish some of it. But that's right. The grain whiskey and the single malts have to all be at least 15 years old because you got to go with the age of the youngest. Yeah. Well, but it still tastes like it's probably 80-20, 80% grain whiskey and 20% single malt. Could some of those single malts be 30, 40 years old? They could be. The youngest whiskey in this blend is 15 years old. And that's a good deal. I mean, you're getting a 15-year-old and it's only $35. So $36. So yeah, it's a deal. It's a deal. It's not a steal, but it's a deal. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it. It's a good deal. Couldn't tell you about the gold label because they don't have an age statement. And these little bottles, they don't. You know, like people will say Johnnie Walker Red Label has no age statement, but that isn't the case. If you look at the bottle, it says this whiskey is at least 3 years old. It says right on the back of the bottle. Does not tout it, but it certainly says it. The Johnnie Walker, I'm thinking of another Diageo brand, J&B, Just Aurelian and Brooks says it very same thing, real small on the back. The whiskeys in this blend are at least 3 years old. So, what's coming up next? Since we're on that JW run, Johnnie Walker run, we're going to bring in the big boy. And I don't think I'll be paying $226 plus tax anytime soon again for blended or a single malt Scotch. No, that was a one-time thing, I guess, for the meanwhile. But I got this project in my mind. I can't get it out of my head that I want to do something. I'm going to go to Trader Joe's Saturday. I think I'm going to make a big move. It's going to be a big move, and it's going to affect this channel for years. But it's going to be cool because it's going to be really cool because they got great deals over there. And I don't believe that it's bad. My friend Dave was like, "How do you know they're not picking inferior stuff?" I said, "I don't know that, but it doesn't appear to be the case." All right. Okay. We're going to do the Johnnie Walker Blue Label versus Dimple Pinch. Now, you would hope, after what I paid, that it's going to kill Dimple Pinch. It's going to be a wipeout, a massacre, right? Like, woo, a blowout. But I could be very well fooled. Joe Hill says, morning. Man, I got to catch up on all my comments. It's been over 24 hours. I haven't answered any comments, but I've been busy. Morning. Looking forward to the draft. However, the Lions had 14 top 10 picks since the year 2000. Nothing to show for it. The incompetence is high. Yeah, talk about incompetence. Incredible. Like they haven't won an NFL title since 1957. 65 years with nothing. No championships. Well, little division championships, which don't mean anything really. Well, I don't have any animosity towards the Detroit Lions. But on the other hand, I don't have any kind of like favoritism towards them either. They're just like a team with a history, a rich history, I know, and all of that. But yeah, I don't say, oh yeah, they lost or nothing like that. But if they won the Super Bowl, the NFL championship, I'd be happy. Wouldn't bother me. Especially since their interests don't conflict with my interests. The Whiskey Scout, Robert, the Whiskey Scout. Hey, Ron. Hello, Robert. This might be more interesting if a challenge. You mean of a challenge? I think you meant to write, this might be more interesting of a challenge. It is. It was. In a sense, it was more difficult because the double black was so obviously smoky that it was like there was no challenge involved. Whereas with these two, there was a challenge because they were both focusing on that honey-like flavor. Honey. So, if not if. It still didn't cooperate with you. He said if not if. He meant of, not if. Your internet's giving me trouble like Total Wine was giving me trouble. Their website was jumping all around like crazy. I'll tell you one thing. If that blue label does not dominate the Dimple Pinch, I'm going to be aggravated because I paid a lot of money for that blue label. And it has done well. It didn't win it did lose once, which I couldn't believe. Can't remember which product it was against, but it was like craziness. Like, how could this lose? Then I was trying to say, well, I ate something. I was trying to make excuses for it. I must have eaten something. Or, whatever. But you would hope And you would expect that the blue label would totally dominate. I might do it today. I got to catch up on so many things on social media, which is not an important thing. But people send me messages and all, and I don't want to ignore them. I don't think it's very nice to do that. I don't like when people do it. I always answer comments because it's the proper thing to do. So I will do that. Got some other tasks I need to take care of. If not, it keeps correcting my of to if. Yeah, well, that's the problem with Total Wine, because they got that predictive thing. So when you type stuff in on Total Wine, it's trying to type what they think you're trying to type. But I wasn't trying to type that, So they're trying to presume what you're going after. I don't need that. I can very easily type things myself, whether on a phone or a computer. I don't need Total Wine anymore to presume what I'm going to say. So after we do Johnnie Walker Blue Label, and I'll be honest, I got a little concerned about that. I think that could potentially be a fiasco, but I'm not sure. But I have a bad feeling about it. I'll just tell you up front, I have a bad feeling about it. But after I do that, then we're going to bring in Scoresby. Now, you would think, and I think I'm right, Scoresby is going to get murdered. There's no way Scoresby, whether it was owned by Diageo back then, or if I get the new Sazerac version, which is still produced by Diageo, because I said it was an 8-year production agreement, 2018 to 2026. There's no way the lowly Scoresby introduced in 1960 is going to age 3 years is going to win. No way. Impossible. It cannot happen. And it will not happen. And if it does happen, you could start to wonder, like, what is up with this channel? Like, how do you get that wrong? I would say that if I was watching it, if I was a viewer, I'd say, well, how could anybody get that wrong? I would say that. But then we're going to pivot off of that, because that's sort of like a lead in, what they call a lead on the news. Because I'm going to bring in all the Sazerac brands. Are those great brands? Nah. Man, look, Sazerac deals with a lot of cheap Scotch. Good stuff too, yes, but a lot of cheap, like Highland Mist. Been around since 1956. Been impressive. That ought to be their tagline. Impressing no one since 1956. That would be a great tagline. Impressing no one since 1956. And then there's this thing that Sazerac's got, but the weird thing about that, they don't really make it. It's from a company called in some Thailand. It's owned by a Thailand company. It's really weird. This stuff is a lot of. It's very convoluted. It's a thing called Inverhouse Green Plaid. Okay. There's a distillery and there's a company called Inverhouse. They got a website. There's a whole history of it. True story. I'm not making this up. Inverhouse. But they're owned by a Thai company, Thailand. Okay. But it's bottled in Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, by Barton Distilling, who is owned by Sazerac. You say, well, that's about as convoluted as it gets. You're right. So it's a Thai company who owns a relatively obscure Scottish distillery, Inverhouse, who makes a plethora of brands, mostly cut rate budget brands. If you look at their website, it's all like cheap stuff, but well known. I'm not saying not well known, but it's shipped to the United States and bottled in Chicago, Illinois by Barton Brands, who's owned by Sazerac. Funny, huh? And it's even funnier than that, because Barton makes a highfalutin bourbon, straight bourbon, a whole line of Barton 1792 bourbon, like really good bourbon. I don't say the best, but really good. Nice $35 to $65 a bottle, depending on the age and level of it. Barton 1792. I went to the distillery. Great tour, fabulous tour, and But then they turn right around and put out really cut rate Barton products like Barton blended whiskey. I paid $5.99 for the bottle in Frankfort, Kentucky. And then some of it is bottled in Los Angeles. I mean, that company there, those guys, they're funny, you know. They make me laugh. You know, they're funny. It's funny, you know, like Karen said in that movie. It's funny. It's funny, you know. Probably because of the cheap labor overseas, says Craft Beer Tastic. I wouldn't be shocked by that. Oh, the Whiskey Scout. Yo, you know about Inverhouse. Okay, he says, Inverhouse Green Plaid was a surprise. It was unexpected, to say the least. You mean a surprise that it wasn't terrible? It's got to be that, because the price point is so ridiculously low on Inverhouse Green Plaid. I mean, the price, you buy it and you say, oh, this is going to be like a nightmare. You know, it's just going to be so bad. But then when you drink it, you say, well, it's not terrible. It's not remarkable or anything you'd be looking to find. But it's, you know, it's like, that's amazing. It's amazing that they could sell it for so cheap, and it's just not terrible. And then we got the Piper Dean, another Inverhouse type thing, but not made by them. Piper Dean. That seemed like that bottle is like the fishes and the loaves of bread in the miracles in the Bible. Like, it never runs out. Like, the more I fill it, there's always some left in the bottle. It never. I've been dealing with this Piper Dean for years, and it's just like never runs empty. So that's a thing there. And then oh, well, I mean, you know, and then I got these, you're about to go outside. That's where you're about to go. Just letting you know, talking to this cat. Then I've got this, stuff from Heaven Hill called J&W, which is a cheap, obvious cheap ripoff of J&B. But the thing about J&W, JW Dance is what it is. It's actually pretty good, and I can get that for a price that's beyond the pale of any acceptable expectation of what a Scotch would be. Like, when I tell you what I paid for that, you'd be like, you're lying now. I'm not lying. You know, it's incredible. It's gonna do pretty well, even though it's on the surface, you would think it would just be a nightmare. So anyway, there's a lot of exciting ones coming up. Well, maybe not exciting, but interesting at least. So thanks, everybody. And let's see. Max Walt says, hello, Ron. Hello to you, Max Walt. And see this? You're going outside. You are not staying in this house. There is no way you're staying in here. You can squint your eyes or whatever you want to do. Trevor Johnston says, completely random as I saw you were live. Watch one of your throwback Milwaukee's Best Light videos and went and got some, expecting it to be awful due to the price point. Wasn't too bad. Yeah, Milwaukee's Best Light is one of those secret weapons of the light beer world. You would think it's going to be just tremendously horrible, but it isn't bad. And in fact, it has a relatively high bitterness unit compared to the other light beers. Most American light beers have little or no bitterness, none, you know, like 0 IBUs basically. But Milwaukee's Best Light, introduced in 1986, is 2 out of 5 hop cones on the Cyclops scale that they use in England, which would mean 20% bitter, 80% not bitter, but 20% bitter. Oh, I'm sorry, 40% bitter. What am I saying? 40%, which is very strange for a light beer. You would say a light beer, American adjunct light lager at 40% bitterness. Yeah, that's the thing about it, you know, and it has, okay. It did well in my blind. Oh, that's right. You did that series. In my blind tasting series of blended Scotch under $20. I let you watch and see. Oh yeah, I watched some of that. The ones that were pertinent to what I had experienced. Oh yeah, or Orange. Yeah, Orangey. That's her name, Orangey. Rubesy Boobsy says, you, back to you. All right. So anyway, stay tuned later today, and maybe not much later than now, but later, because I got to do some stuff. I guess we'll do the Johnnie Walker Blue Label, which is going to account for a day in May when I know I'm not going to be able to do it. And we'll see what happens. So thanks for watching this 30-minute video. But cheers to the Dimple Pinch, which wins by virtue of price, not really on taste. But it does beat the Johnnie Walker Gold Label Reserve on price point. That's something to be said about that. All right, Orangey, what do you have to say? Nothing, of course.